Hello, everyone.
Hi, campers.
We're back.
Wait,
Guess who's back?
back again.
Probably can't
We're
sing
not
that
doing-
too much
no,
of that before we get
yeah.
demonetised either, can we?
I could put it on the
Infringement.
album, couldn't I? I could put it on the album.
Put it on the album. Yeah.
There we go.
Mm.
Yeah.
It is 2026.
So this is our first series of 2026, which we have not very creatively called Executive People.
Yes.
We did love the suggestions last week about what else we could call it, but we've still stuck with Executive People.
Because it does what it says in the tin.
Exactly.
And also there's an element to which as well I'm uncomfortable with making something particularly catchy or humorous or wordplayy when we are talking about the judicial murder of human beings. So I feel like Executed People is probably the most appropriate way to just title it.
I mean, we still hope
we did all laugh when someone said choppy though.
Yeah, I did like choppy, but they're all not. They're not
all choppy. So.
Choppy, but
yeah, that's the thing, because there's a variety of methods in which the state has killed human beings, so it can't just do choppy.
No. But speaking of choppy, oh dear, that was a very inappropriate possible segue into today's topic, because today Philippa is talking about possibly one of the most well-known executed people, and this was definitely one now. Well, we definitely see it now. I think the majority of people was an insane miscarriage of justice. But even at the time, there were some people who were truly, truly shocked and appalled at the state of affairs. Not her husband, unfortunately, but he was, I can't use the words because we haven't done the disclaimer yet, but Philippa is going to talk to us about Anne Boleyn. But before that, because there will be language when we are talking about some of the people that are going to come up in this episode. I think
there's going to be language.
Katrina.
Yeah. Oh, don't full name me. That's not
That's
kind.
why I do it. That's why I do it.
Oh, I don't like it. Hello. Welcome to History After Dark. I'm Kat. That's who I am. We called it History After Dark for a variety of reasons. Chief amongst them is we wanted a place where we could indulge in our enjoyment of the four-letter expletive, filth, innuendo, innuendo, general smut. And we don't do that on our other social media platforms. So this is that place. That means if you are in an open plan office with a judgmental boss, put a headphone in. If you are in a car, a caravan, a yurt with a small problematic child, we call this child Timmy. Look at their mugs. Timmy is a problem. Timmy is the kind of child that hears one depraved thing one time, looks at him in his mind palace, takes it to school with him, and then repeats it in front of his teacher, who in my head is like Miss Honey from Matilda. Now, of course, Miss Honey from Matilda, pure as the driven, she isn't watching this filth. So she breaks the first cardinal rule of History After Dark, which is, if you don't know what something means, don't Google it. It's not for you. That's fine. Not everything's for everybody. But she does Google it. And now she is in the fetal position in the corner of the room, rocking back and forth. And she's non-verbal. Not ideal for someone who's teaching 4 and 5-year-olds. You've been called at the school. Why does Timmy know this thing? Can you tell where my trauma comes from? Why does Timmy know this thing? You're also on the hook for all the therapy that she needs to get her upright and verbal again. No one needs it. Put a headphone in. It should be clear from what I've just done what might happen in this episode, and indeed our podcast in general across the weeks. At no point, therefore, should anybody come into these comments, nay, not even a little bit, into our other social media where we don't swear and go, I very much enjoy History After Dark, but I don't like the swearing. It's not very ladylike. Must you do it? Yes, I must. Yes. I must do it, Jocasta, because if I don't, I may explode. So I'm also not going to pin that comment so that other people can see what you've done and come and humiliate you, because I know that for at least 95% of you doing that, that is your kink. You want people to humiliate you publicly. And do you know what? I won't shame you for your kink. They might, but I won't. But what I will shame you for is kink without consent, because that's not cool. Now, if you want to go and meet my friend Tiffany, in her most salubrious Brighton basement. She's got the damp problem sorted out now. The walls are wiped clean, so is she. And over Christmas, she was gifted many things. Some are spiky, some are firm, some are electrified. And for the right budget, she and her conglomerate of dominatrixes, her murder of dominatrixes, if you will do all sorts of things. Biscuits the Gimp's been let out of the cupboard, so he can come and play too. He'll get his cat's cradle testicles out, and you'll have a lovely time. But this should be very clear. Kink without consent is not okay. I do hope that everybody's an adult after that, particularly. Sweet Christ, I hope. This will never be a drinking game, but you can do what you want. You're grown-ups. It will not be medical nor legal advice. Please don't sue. This is History After Dark, and let's talk about Anne Boleyn, her execution, and probably what we're gonna. I'm probably gonna get the rage on about him indoors.
Well, him indoors, and just how he gets away with it. The people who are willing to support him. Let's remember, every tyrant must have, people around them willing to turn a blind eye. But yes, I thought we'd start off this series. I know there's plenty of information about Anne Boleyn. We've covered her a few times, but I don't think we can do a series on executed people without talking about Anne Boleyn, because, like Catherine's already said, it is actually, I think the myth of her somehow deserving it for whatever reason. She got above her station. She actually did what she was accused of. Whatever it was, endured for a very long time. And it's sort of more recent that people are, in general, completely dismissing it. No, there's no smoke without fire here. It's a load of cobblers. They've made it up completely. And we'll get into that. But yeah, I think she's probably one of the most famous, if not the most famous person executed in English and British history. Potentially, maybe Charles I comes. No, actually, I think she's probably more famous than Charles I. Actually,
the other one might be Guy Fawkes.
Guy Fawkes,
because small kids do about him at school,
and
don't
maybe the Scottish guy.
William Wallace. But here's the thing: if we asked people where was Charles I executed, I don't think everybody would know the location.
No, definitely.
If we asked where was William Wallace executed, I don't think everybody would know the location. If we asked where's Anne Boleyn executed, people know the location. And that, I think, is a sign of how inbuilt into our kind of culture and life it is. And I mean, globally, actually, I think.
Yeah. I mean, she gets sort of banded around now as sort of, I don't know, the figurehead of lots of different things. I mean, I don't believe she was an early feminist. I think that's just not a label you can apply to 16th century women. I don't think she would have recognised it. I don't think her daughter would have recognised it. People try and do it with Elizabeth I as well. But anyway, that, but she does grab the attention of people. I mean, we'll get onto this, you still get people saying she deserves it, but I think the tide has definitely turned in her favor. And we'll get into really just the absurdity of the accusations against her and how it was just utter made up bullshit. Like, it obviously at the time, that there is no question when you get into it. But for anyone who doesn't know who Anne Boleyn is, which would be quite mad.
Where have you been?
Point. Where have you been? Well,
you're about is the big question. If you don't know who Anne Boleyn is, how are you here? How have you found us?
True. So for everyone who already knows, sing along with me. Anne Boleyn was the second wife of Henry VIII. And she is executed on the 19th of May, 1536 at the Tower of London. Within its walls, only a select few people have had that quote unquote honor privilege. Yes. And she's the mother of Elizabeth I. So, and Tracy Borman's done a lot of work on debunking the idea that Elizabeth I never spoke about her mother. She absolutely did, and she absolutely honoured her in her ceremony, badges, all sorts. The people she surrounded herself in, a lot of them were her mother's family. And of course, I do have a particular interest because I run an Anne Boleyn tour every year. So, and we mentioned this last week on our live. You wouldn't believe, but there is actually still stuff coming out about Anne Boleyn, different ways of looking at her story, understanding her by looking at the world around her and understanding that better. Because I think maybe the Tudor story has been, it's focused so much on Henry and his wives, and I suppose the religious changes, but that also seems to focus on Henry's part in that. That the context in which these people are living is sometimes not exactly lost, but it's not understood enough. It's sort of like background noise, as opposed to actually it will help you understand, you know, like what's we'll get into it, but like what's Anne's attitude to her execution? Why does she make the speech she makes? Why do I think the Lady in the Tower letter is bullshit, etc. We'll get into all of this. But the other thing that happens with such an infamous person and famous story is we tell it backwards. So we know that Anne is executed. This is why she's probably why I would argue it's why she's so famous, but it's also, I would argue, why Henry VIII is so famous. Because I think without his wives, I don't. You know, there's plenty of kings who make. I know the Reformation happens, and the split from Rome happens with Henry, but that, like, it's not like there hadn't been issues between Rome and kings of England in the previous to this and after this. You know, like he wasn't unique in the shit that he did, except having 6 wives and killing 2 of them.
Yeah, was wife related anyway.
If he wanted to bin Catherine of Aragon off, he probably wouldn't have done it anyway.
No.
So
I think he's he's only as famous, I think, because of that. And Holbein did do a Pucker portrait, so that did help him a lot.
True. That is true.
Instagram ready and all of that. So so I thought we'd have a go at trying to tell Anne's story forwards, because I think it becomes more real when you realize how it unfolded for her, not the people who already knew it was happening, which is generally how it's told. You know, she's executed on the 19th, and then we find out that there's this apparatus, this all these goings on around her that she didn't know about. So she's arrested on the 2nd of May. She's at Greenwich. They've been at Greenwich Palace, which is downstream, is that what you say, on the Thames, so further towards the sea than central London. Kind of countryside palace, favorite of Henry VII and his son. Anne had given birth to Elizabeth there in 1533, and they've been there ahead of a trip to Calais, which is supposed to be happening, going to visit Francis I. And there's some changes happening. Suddenly it's not going to be everyone. It's just going to be Henry going for some reason. And I don't know, maybe Anne's thinking this is a bit odd. But really the first time she knows something is properly wrong is 2nd of May. She is called into the Privy Council. Henry's already disappeared. He was there the day before at the May Day jousts at Greenwich, and everything seems fine. He's watching the jousts. He's not taking part because he's injured again. And he Anne's brother, George Boleyn, I think it was, his horse wouldn't run, so Henry lends him a horse. Everything seems fine, except he then gets a little whisper in the ear and he's off. He's suddenly gone, and he's taken Henry Norris, his gentleman. Was he gentleman of the stool? No. Well, either way, he was one of his body servants. Takes him with him, one of his best friends, and he's heading back to Whitehall for whatever reason. So I suppose Anne's getting an inkling there's something going on, but what it is, how would she know? So 2nd of May, she's called into the Privy Council, at which one of our favourite people to hate, her uncle, the Duke of Norfolk, is there. And she's told that she is accused of adultery with 3 men. I need to remember which of the 3 now, but Mark Smeaton, who had been already arrested, and was it Henry Norris, the first one? And But the third one, so Smeaton and Norris, she's told she's accused of adultery with them, and another one, but they don't bother mentioning who that is. So that another one straight away. There's like, these just made up things, and so she's told that she's arrested, and she's told she's been taken to the Tower. And at 2:00 in the afternoon, she boards a barge at Greenwich, and she's taken up to the Tower of London. And James Peacock has posted that this could have taken this journey because it was against the tide. I think the accounts say that she turned up at the Tower of London in the evening. Now, I don't know what time evening means, but in May, it's not going dark till 8, 9. We're into the longer days. Our longest days in the middle of June, so middle of May. Just go back a little bit further, which is slightly shorter. So James Peacock, he posits that it could have taken hours. I can't remember how many hours he reckons it might have taken, but they're rowing against the tide. So she's on this barge for like maybe 4, 5 hours, something ridiculous, which just must have been horrendous. Like, can you imagine? You can't really imagine, can you? Like, she's there, not really knowing what's going on, except she's been taken to the Tower of London, and that doesn't go well for anyone under Henry. So she gets to the Tower of London. Of course, we know it's one of the myths that people love to bust. She doesn't go in through Traitors Gate. Traitors Gate isn't called Traitors Gate anyway, so it's a bit sort of a myth that doesn't really require busting, because it's, as in, people think, we've got to make sure people know she didn't go through Traitors Gate. Well, even if she did, it's not called Traitors Gate, it's Watergate. It's the water entrance where you can go straight into the Tower, and anyone who's been to the Tower will know it takes you in within the outer curtain wall. But she goes to the jetty. She comes in through the Byward Postern Gate, and I have a theory that it hasn't been picked up by any historian, right? So it could be like, but I'm going to put it out there because I can. I'm thinking that it was also of advantage to Henry and his cabal of twatheads that Anne is taken to the Tower in view of everyone who can see it, because you don't sneak a guilty person into the Tower of London.
No,
you are fine with letting everyone know that someone who, they've got good chance of being guilty of whatever they've been accused of, that you don't need to hide them going into the Tower. And I feel like the display of her going into the Tower was part of, I mean, I haven't looked at tide times. I've got no idea whether the Watergate would have been possible. So this could just be, but I think there was an advantage to it.
For sure. And also the Byward Postern is the kind of, it's like the royal entrance. That's where she goes through before her coronation. It had been the stairs to it in sort of going 15 end of 1532 and 1533, they had relayed the stairs. They'd driven posts in to secure them more. So the stairs had been refitted, and the gates had been refitted in preparation for her coronation. Interestingly, when Elizabeth is imprisoned by Mary, the story goes that she is brought in through the Traitors Gate. That's what is in John Fox. It's not what happens, because in that case, the tide is wrong. She comes into the Byward Postern as well. And I also think there's a humiliation, because just like for Anne's coronation, the cannon is fired. So she's still a queen. She hasn't been tried yet. So a cannon. So there's a cannon volley. It's absolutely about display. Yeah, definitely.
So I'll take that as when that starts to become the accepted theory. Just remember where you heard it first.
Yeah.
I've timed it now. It's here in evidence on the internet.
So she's taken it, and she's taken to the same apartments that she was in before her coronation. There is, I mean, where else would you have put her? But there just feels like it's calculated to break her, I think. At least that is maybe a happy coincidence for Henry, if that's what's going to happen. And she's immediately pretty much on her own in terms of having anyone around her who's a supporter. So she is under the overall eye of William Kingston, who is the constable of the Tower. The ladies in waiting who are assigned to her include his wife, include people who are not Anne supporters, some of whom, not that she would have, well, maybe she would have suspected, but are starting to go over to the new Seymour faction and sort of known to be supporting that. And they are tasked with reporting back everything she says. And there's a temptation to want our femme fatales to be always composed, always saying the right thing, as if they're in a movie or something, when you see these people in situations, I don't know, James Bond, and they're saying, oh, do it more, whatever. No, she loses it. She has a breakdown of sorts, I suppose. She's rambling. She's trying to make sense. And this is what we need to remember. She does not know what's happening. She is trying to make sense of what on earth has just gone on. She was at a May Day joust with her husband the day before. She is now, 24 hours later, in the Tower of London after being accused of adultery, which we'll get into that. But she will know that that's made up. And then there's not just the fact that it's made up and she knows it's made up. Why is this being made up? Why are these accusations being put against her? And what on earth could the outcome be?
Yeah. Could I just flag something?
Yeah, go for it.
Because I think that what's going to be running through, Anne is an intelligent woman. She's an educated woman. And I think it's worth pointing out that at this moment where all she knows is that she's been accused of adultery, she's going to know enough of the law to know that that isn't a crime for a queen. Right. That isn't treason for a queen. It becomes treason. Catherine Howard, Henry changes the law for her. So the time Anne is imprisoned, the adultery isn't a crime. It is, though, a crime for the men involved. For them, it's treason. It is treason to violate the body of the king's wife, the king's eldest daughter unmarried, or the wife of his eldest son. That's treason. So but adultery is, of course, a reason to set aside a wife. So at this point, she's probably not expecting, or in her, we'll get to this, but I don't think there's any part of her that's going to be considering that she's going to be executed. She probably put away.
Well, that's a good point, because that's another thing that we have to remember if we're telling this story forward, is no queen has been executed. In fact, no, not just no queen, but Margaret Beaufort had been very close to being, accused of she was accused of treason.
She was doing treason,
and she had her lands confiscated or given to her husband, whatever, to look after. But the idea that she would be executed clearly was never on the table. So it's completely unheard of. Completely unheard
Eleanor of Aquitaine did treason.
Eleanor of Aquitaine definitely did treason.
Didn't get executed. No. Like, there have been queens that have done treason. There have been queens that probably did adultery, not executed. This is we're off the line here, friends.
Exactly, and that's something that we need to try and remember, which is difficult because, of course, we're so familiar with the story. But you're talking about the law there, and she famously is supposed to have said to Kingston, "Shall I die without justice?" And he replies, "Even the poorest subject, the king hath justice." And she apparently laughs. Lol. Lol. Which my children tell me off, because apparently you're not supposed to say lol, but I just now am.
I'm a millennial. Amused. Deal with it.
I'm doubly amused to say it because I'm not supposed to. Yeah, and she's just like laughs in his face and is like, yeah, all right. She's savvy enough to know. Yeah, okay.
She's still spicy. She's still Anne.
She's still Anne. She is still Anne. But she does have these few days into the third, probably into the fourth, where she is chatting a lot, and it's all being reported back. So she's trying to work out how come Norris has been arrested. So then she starts telling them of this argument that she'd had with Norris the day, I think it was the 30th of April, so prior to the May Day jousts. where she'd sort of said to him, she was chastising him about the fact that she wanted him to get engaged to one of her ladies in waiting, and he wouldn't. And she basically tells him off for tarrying and like, you're looking for dead man's shoes. If aught come to the king but good, you'd be looking to have me.
Which by the way, is treason.
That would be treason, because that's imagining the king's death, which I think that goes right back to the 1352 treason, I think, act, doesn't it?
So.
As does the violation of the king's wife, the king's daughter, and so that's not a Henry thing. That's been in for a long time. And he's horrified, of course. He gets what that means, and he's like, "Fuck off! No, that's not what I said. That's not what I mean." So she's running through these things in her head, and then she goes on to say, "Oh well, actually, I don't fear anything from Norris, but Francis Weston, he worries me." And so, guess what? He gets arrested. So he's now in the Tower, and then for some reason they arrest William Brereton, who's a little bit of an oddity in this, because he's not sort of a member of Anne's inner circle, so he's not really had access to Anne anyway. But Cromwell didn't really like him, so that's probably more to do with it. I think there's something going on
when
between
you're cleaning
them two.
house, clean house. When you're cleaning house, clean house. That's what you're doing there.
And then she's still talking, and like I say, her ladies in waiting are not fans, they're not friends, and she starts complaining to Kingston about her sort of treatment. I don't think she got very far with that. She starts talking out loud. Is this a test from Henry? Is he trying to see how much she loves him? I mean, we could get into the debate about whether Henry and Anne are a love story or not, because I don't think they are. And
I don't think any relationship that ends with one of them having their head cut off should ever be categorized as a love story. I think that is wildly toxic, and dangerous. Actually, let's just in terms of like what that might mean for modern day people. Let's place that as that's how people end up getting killed. Let's not.
Exactly. So I mentioned this in our live last week, but I've been looking to like what it means to know a narcissistic sociopath. And I know we're not supposed to diagnose. I wouldn't write this in a book, but I will say it out loud. And I think Henry shows, not because it's not just what the person themselves demonstrates in terms of their behaviors, it's what they make other people around them do. That I think kind of starts to indicate a narcissistic sociopath, because they are successful because of the way they manage to get everyone else to buy into their sort of their bullshit. So I think maybe there's a matter of her thinking, or maybe it's a test of loyalty. I don't know, love, but loyalty maybe. So this is her trying to work this out in her own mind. But the other thing we need to remember is they don't just believe we're quite secular now, although our underlying sort of values tend to be Christian, but they really believe that she knows if something is happening, because she so you were saying it is unprecedented that a queen is going to be, or even a woman is going to be put aside. However, she is starting to talk about, well, I've done some good deeds, and I've been this, and I've been that, and I'm very, So, when the judgment comes by God, I think I'm going to be okay. So maybe her mind is turning towards death. There were 2 further arrests on the 5th of May. Thomas Wyatt, the poet, who we get information from because he survives, and Richard Page, who's another gentleman of the Privy Council. And they're both taken to the Tower. So you've got 7 men. So this is not just Anne's story. We always have to remember that. There's 5 men get executed as well. But you've got 7 men in the Tower at this time. Now you've got Thomas Wyatt, Richard Page, Mark Smeaton, who is the only non-noble and the only person to admit to sexual relations with the Queen.
And the only one who's tortured.
Well, exactly. We don't know exactly how he's tortured because it's not mentioned at the scaffold. You know, it's very, very. It's almost impossible that he was racked because he was kept at Cromwell's house at, was it Blackfriars? I can't remember which one he was at. He would have had to have a rack at his house. I don't think his wife was up for that. So
yeah,
I'm not calling that again.
Also, there are so many. I talk about this a lot when I'm working at the Tower, and people are always very keen when we think about torture. They always think about the rack or Skeffington's daughter or the thumb screws or Little Ease or blah 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 blah. We have known since for many centuries, and let's be clear, we're still doing it to people today. You don't have to touch a hair on a person's head to torture them beyond belief. All you've got to do is stop them sleeping. States do it. Abusive partners do it. You prevent somebody from sleeping, they will confess to anything. You prevent somebody from sleeping, and then you also add in threats. You maybe put them in a room that is shadowy. You do sound effects outside, whatever. You psychologically torment somebody who is sleep deprived. They will. They're hallucinating, and they will tell you anything. Anything.
And then you have the added, you know, just tell us the truth. Just tell us the truth. And which is what Henry had done to Henry Norris on their ride back from Greenwich on the 1st of May. Norris's servant sort of does this account, and you know, Henry's going on at him, just tell me the truth, and you know, this, you know, it'll all be okay. Well, of course, they're not after the truth, they're after what they want you to say. Smeaton might so he may have been told, well, your sentence will be commuted because as a non-noble, if you're found guilty of this, then you're for hanging, drawing and quartering. But we'll just behead you. Or, you know, if you don't comply, then your family are up shit creek as well.
And it is worth pointing out that he is beheaded. It is worth pointing
beheaded.
So he does get his sentence is commuted. That is worth pointing out.
Yeah. So you've got Mark Smeaton, you've got the poet Thomas Wyatt, Richard Page, Henry Norris, he was Groom of the Stool, George Boleyn, who was Anne Boleyn's brother, Sir Francis Weston, and who was a friend of George Boleyn as well as being a favourite at court, Sir William Brereton. I think that's it. I think I've covered them all. So it's really intense by this point. And remember that nothing had happened before the end of April. By the 5th of May, you have Anne Boleyn in the Tower. So you have the Queen of England in the Tower, her brother, and 6 other men.
Yeah.
All accused of adultery. Well, I don't know that I don't think they know what they're accused of actually properly. So maybe this is an indication of Henry's just the lengths Henry is willing to go to, because he is to maintain this idea that Anne has to go, by which at this point nobody knows what the means of that is. He's willing to take down some of his closest friends and confidants. I mean, and this is another thing that kind of feeds into this idea of what kind of personality he might have. This maintaining the story is the most important thing, and everything else is collateral damage, which happens. People sacrifice their loved ones for this, you know, keeping up a story. Sir Francis Bryan was also questioned, but I think he was released, and he was questioned, and he's actually the one who delivered. He was part of the Seymour faction. So there's a bit of potential cover here. Oh, we you know, we didn't find everyone guilty. We questioned some people and they were let go.
Yeah.
So Francis Bryan's nickname is the Vicar of Hell.
Yeah.
He is a relation of both Anne Boleyn and Jane Seymour. He's a cousin of both of them. he had been firmly in the Boleyn faction. And when George doesn't get promoted, he knows the tide has turned, and he jumps ship like a rat up a drain pipe.
Yeah. And then you get on the 6th of May. This is when supposedly Anne is, she has was composed herself enough to write to Henry. I did a whole interview with Amanda Glover, who has done sort of the most recent work on this letter, which is worth watching in full if you don't mind me plugging it, but it's on my channel. And she actually looked, so it's on the British History Channel on YouTube, and she actually looked at the actual physical letter. Anyway, she went through this whole process and basically calls into question that this letter was genuine. Now, I think it's quite questionable anyway, because it's so composed. It's almost like it's what we want Anne to say. Yeah. It's what we want Henry to hear.
Yeah.
But it's almost too perfect. It really is exactly what you'd wanted to say and what he wanted. And it speaks to us wanting him to have some sort of consideration about what he's done, maybe some regret. And I just don't think that is what ever happens. Even in the Tudors, they sort of have in the series, the series that got loads of people into the story in the first place. There's a scene, isn't there, towards the end, I think, where he's becoming an old man and sort of on his I don't know if he's on his deathbed, but he's ill. And the ghost of them coming back and him sort of regretting. And I think that maybe speaks more to our humanity. Definitely more to our humanity than Henry VIII's humanity.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's worth having a look at that if you want to look into it. But it's just a little bit too perfect, and it requires you, I think, to maybe buy into the fact that this is a love story more than it is. But anyway, she does that. And then 7th of May, she requests her chaplain. So William Latimer comes. He's lucky because he's just returned from the continent without religious texts, which he would normally be bringing back for Anne. Luckily, he hasn't brought any back with him this time, so he's okay. But she asks if she can have the sacrament in her chamber. And actually, John Skipp comes and visits her as well. At some point, maybe it's not then, but she's sort of offered. Oh, maybe I'll come back to that. Offered sort of a deal. That's when Cranmer comes to visit her, isn't it? So maybe that's a bit later on. But I think I wonder. Anne doesn't know what's going to happen, but I wonder how much anyone other than Henry and Cromwell potentially know what's going to happen.
I have thoughts on this.
Oh, go for it.
I think the only people that expect Anne to be found guilty and then beheaded is Henry and Cromwell and the executioner. I think everybody else, even when she's mounting that scaffold, are like, well, the pardon's going to come soon. I think Anne thinks it's coming. I don't think that William Kingston thinks it's going to be an execution. No, everything else is immaculately planned. I'm not even sure if Henry's completely thought it through, because he has planned. He's paid for this execution. There's all this, all this show and bells and whistles. No one gets a coffin.
No, so I was going to come to that because she's got no coffin. Well, I'll come back to that because there's another few things as well.
So, I don't think anybody thinks this is going to play out the way it is. Maybe Henry, but I'm not even sure if he's 100%.
I think he's. I'm not even sure. I think he's gone. I think he's past it already. I don't think he's thinking it's done as far as he's concerned. The detail is detail.
Yeah,
and he's not a detail person. He doesn't do detail.
Had said to him, we're going to put her in a convent. If Cromwell had said we're going to show mercy and put her in a convent, I think Henry would have been potentially would have been fine with that.
As long as she's
I
out
don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, I don't think he cared. I agree with you. I'm not sure she had to die for him though.
Because on the on the 8th of May, you've got people already starting to write letters to people like Cromwell to say, oh, when so-and-so's lands come up for redistribution, I'd be really interested. I'd quite like that position at court that's going to be vacant very soon. They haven't gone to trial yet. They haven't even been indicted. The indictment hasn't been read yet. 9th of May, the king meets with his council and orders that a jury is put in place to listen to the offences at Whitehall and Hampton Court. And so the sheriffs are tasked with doing that. So and then the 10th of May, you get the Middlesex indictment. The day after that, you get the other one. You tell me and I'll tell you. Kent indictment. And so this is where it gets interesting, and the level of bullshit is quite stark. So the jury hears this indictment against Henry Norris, George Boleyn, William Brereton, Francis Weston, Mark Smeaton, and the first thing to say is they're very lewd. They're designed, I think, to shock, disgust, and I think that's on purpose for two reasons. One, you want to make sure that the crimes are clearly crimes, and two, to question them. There's a very fine line. It starts to make you sound like you're questioning whether or not that is a crime. With these people found guilty, and you're saying, but they, is that really a crime? Are you supporting that? This kind of behaviour? And of course, we get things like that. And they talk about Anne following daily her frail and carnal lust, drawing the king's daily and familiar servants into base conversations, kisses, touchings, gifts, and other infamous incitations. There's always like and everything else on the end of all these, and etc. Yes, yielded. They all yielded, or several had yielded to her vile provocations. So she's trying it on with everybody, and some of them have given in. And then when you start to look at the times, so the dates that they give and the places that they give, they're not even careful. I mean, the date ranges are very long and start very soon after Elizabeth's birth, or very soon after. Yeah, I think it was Elizabeth's birth or one of the miscarriages that she has. You're like, really? Some of the times she's not in the places that, like, it's provable she's not in the places that they're saying. But you get this cynical addition to that as well. Oh, these dates, these times, and various other times, both before and after. Like, okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there. Apparently they're jealous of each other. So what she's doing is she's playing them off against each other and assuring them that she will marry one of them once the king is dead. So we have to believe that not only is Anne this most powerful, persuasive seductress that's ever lived, because she can seduce her husband's closest friends, all of them at the same time. She's so insatiable, of course, that she even lures her own brother. That's how insatiable this witch is.
Yeah.
That she's got multiple lovers, all whom supposedly know of each other, and she's managing their jealousy by promising that she's going to marry one of them. Okay, that sounds brilliant. And all of this is happening under the nose of Henry and the rest of the court.
Yeah, he's not seen it, but also none of her ladies are involved.
Yeah,
exactly. Nobody else is accused of. Now, obviously, we know when Catherine Howard later on, Howard, we've got Jane Rochford. She goes down with Catherine because there's no way the Queen can do this without the support of some of her ladies in waiting. Yep. You don't get any of the ladies in waiting. But it's put over as something that no one can question. So the men are taken to trial. So you've got 11th of May, the Middlesex indictment that covers London, and then Kent is where sort of Hampton Court Palace, and that's the county. So that's the day after. That's pretty much exactly the same, other than the locations. 12th of May, all of the men except George Boleyn tried at Westminster Hall. So they're taken from the Tower and they're tried at Westminster Hall. George Boleyn is treated separately because he is nobility, so he's
higher rank,
and he has to be tried in a different way. They're all found guilty. Surprise, surprise. 15th of May, you have George and Anne's trials, and they take place in the Great Hall in the Tower of London. The Great Hall doesn't exist anymore. It's around about where the Ravens shop is now, in that kind of dip. If you go up on the curtain wall, they have a illustration of not the roof, but what it would have looked like from above, so you can kind of get to where it is.
Back in 1533, Anne was in that Great Hall celebrating, having sweet wines, and she was pregnant with what they thought was going to be a prince, but was in fact Elizabeth. You know, the Knights of the Bath were about to be created. She spent 2 nights in those sumptuously redecorated royal apartments celebrating in that Great Hall, you know, every inch the queen. And just under 3 years later, she's fucking back.
And it's so happening. Cruel. It's so cruel. And of course her uncle's there. Because you know, we've talked about him before. Check that episode out.
Her former suitor Henry Percy there as well.
And Henry Percy absents himself, doesn't he? I think he
so Henry Percy, he gives the verdict along with everybody else, and then when he hears the sentence, he collapses.
Just
he's not a well man. He's not a happy man. He said his marriage is miserable. I made a video on the Percys, and everything seems to point to him having, by his sort of 30s, end stage liver failure.
Right.
Like the condition that the symptoms that they talk about, it seems like he has something very, very badly wrong with his liver.
Oh right, wow. Oh well, that's going to make you very ill.
He's not well, and all of his hopes were disappointed.
Yeah, he was miserable with sin in his marriage. Well, to be fair, his wife was equally pissed off about the whole situation, wasn't she?
Well, they were living separately, and he's dead the year after Anne. So
bless him.
Bless him. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so you've got some of the more if there's any amusing part of this, George's trial. He's told. They've basically they're trying to say, oh well, you slept with Anne because you know we're not going to say it out loud, but because you know she's told you that Henry can't get it up, so you know she needs her lusts serviced, and so you know this, so we're going to pass you this letter which tells you that that we know that you know that this, do not read it out loud. You fucking dare. Well, he did. He did. And this is where we get the idea that, you know, that Anne is saying.
Skills or the ability.
Yes. That Henry basically, doesn't have the requisite.
See, in this, though, I think that George falls into Cromwell's trap there.
Yeah.
Do you? Or do you think he just thinks, well, fuck it, I'm going out with a bang?
True.
I think he thinks that, but I don't think it helps him in any way, shape, or form. And I think
he already knows all the other men have been.
Yeah, but I think that there's talk about those who said that both of them defended themselves and acquitted themselves beautifully. I think it makes him look seedy and disobedient, and like he doesn't respect the court. I wonder if in the thinking of the time, we see it as a kind of fuck you, Henry, but the very fact that he's given this piece of paper and don't read this out, don't read it out loud, don't read it out loud, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, and he does it. I'm like, because he wasn't stopped either.
Yeah.
I feel like that was done because it actually makes him look worse. There was a reason for it. I think he fell in somebody's trap there.
Yeah, I mean, I think his fate was done and dusted anyway. I think. Yeah. But there is this, and in court he did this. So, you know, it's just like another added piece of evidence that he's a wrong un. Because he wasn't.
Yeah.
So,
well, he might have been, but not for the reasons.
Well, he might have been, but not for these reasons. And he's and not for the reasons in was it The Other Boleyn Girl? No, whatever the film was where he does bad things to his wife. But anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. He does in the Tudors, doesn't he?
Was it the Tudors?
In a lot of them, he's very abusive to Chamberlain. They've got this very miserable marriage. That's the narrative, is that, you know, because he's supposed to have said, on the word of one woman, you would believe this great evil of me. And for some reason, people have gone, oh, well, the one woman must be Jane. Well, if he meant Jane, he'd say, on the word of my wife who hates me, you believe this great evil of me. Why would he say on the word of one? We don't know who the woman is. He's not specific.
No.
And he also accepts gratefully letters from her.
She tried to help.
Yeah, she tried to help. It's not good for her to be the wife of a traitor just because she survives the experience and manages to hang on to her wealth and serve the next couple of queens until she falls with Catherine Howard. That doesn't mean that this wasn't very bad for her career prospects. Also, not having a child in a marriage is not a sign that you are unhappily married. There are multiple reasons why a married couple might not have or be able to have children without them hating.
Your husband is hardly ever there because he keeps getting sent abroad on diplomatic missions by your husband.
Yeah. And he's also getting drunk with the king all the goddamn time. So, you know.
He does actually physically have to be present for a baby to be.
He does have to happen. And fairly, like, it's not easy to always get pregnant.
No. And remembering their religious observations and how many days of the year you're not supposed to have sex.
I mean, I looked into that. There are, considering how you aren't supposed to have sex for the whole of Advent, there are still babies being born in August and September. That makes me think they're probably ignoring that.
Oh
yeah, totally. But, you know, I suppose if you apply the 60-40 rule or the 80-20 rule, I don't know.
Well,
still quite a lot of days out of the year.
Yeah.
So, but then we get to the 17th of May, and all of the men are executed. But maybe what I should say is 2 days. Before the trial, whether Anne knows this or not, I don't know. Anne's household is broken up 2 days before her trial. Her household is broken up, and word is sent to Jane Seymour, who is staying at Chelsea, feeling very smug, I imagine. This is the day. And word is sent to Jane on the day of the trial. Excuse me, to say, from Henry. I'll send word later on, after 3 p.m. You'll get word that Anne has been found guilty. Right. Okay. 17th of May. The men are executed. The men are executed on Tower Hill. So outside of the this is like the traditional, by this point, execution site, the sort of permanent scaffold site. And they're executed there in public. Mark Smeaton, like you say, is also beheaded. So they're all beheaded in rank order. So Smeaton gets the horror of seeing everybody else executed before him, and you're slipping and sliding on your friend's blood and all that sort of stuff. Horrific. Anne was supposed to die on the 18th, the day after the men. And so this is going back to kind of the thought, does anyone actually know? How many people really think this is going to happen?
Yeah.
because she is. So we know that the swordsman has been, the French swordsman who is going to execute Anne has been requested, and that must have happened. I don't know what travel times are like at that point, but that has to have been way before.
Yeah.
Like what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks
before? Someone's got to get there, then they've got to get to over.
They've got to find him. They've got to, you know, he's got to get there. So potentially this delay from the 18th to the 19th is because he's not there. I don't know. But she's supposed to die on the 18th. It's delayed for a day. That is going to give Anne hope. Surely.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, we talked about this. Like, I sort of said that maybe Henry doesn't even know she's going to be executed. I think he might have been like, maybe I'll change my mind. I think Cromwell's planning for her to be executed, but I think there's probably some level where he's like, and then Henry will give me the word to pardon her. I'm not sure if anybody's like, she's definitely dying. Even Henry. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And because, as you say, she gives her final speech, but there are accounts of her sort of looking around, and she has to sort of be the swordsman who is skilled at these things, kind of manages to get her into the position he wants her in by getting, I think it was his assistant, or he called it, whichever way around it is, and he gets, because she's looking around now. That, I think that is her. Well, who knows? Is that her searching for the pardon? Is that like her listening out? Surely there's going to be someone's going to shout in a second, and I'm going to be sent off to a convent, and that's fine. I'm good with that, because she's given her calm final speech. You know, pray for the king, be loyal to him, all of this stuff, which is exactly what would have been expected of her. And you have to remember that she has living family. Her daughter, of course, she doesn't want her cast out. The idea of leaving your 2-year-old just absolutely breaks me if I think about it too much. So she's executed on the 19th. Like you say, there's no coffin, so her body is put in a bow chest, which isn't probably big enough. And then
it's a sign of how thin she is.
Yeah.
It's a sign of how slight she must have been.
Yeah, I don't think she was reverently laid in it though either.
No.
But she's then, without ceremony, without much ceremony, buried in St. Peter ad Vincula. And then there's this, because she's supposed to have, obviously, people will probably know this famous story of her joking about the execution, sort of in this sort of hysteria, and saying, I hear the executioner is very good, and I have a little neck, lol.
She definitely said lol.
She definitely said lol. And then when was the excavations in Victorian times, and they go, we found Anne because there's a skeleton here with a little neck, with little neck bones. That's not the fucking way bodies work. You can't tell how thick someone's neck was from the bones. Like,
no,
what a load of tap. So yeah, anyway, and she's executed. Now Henry marries Jane Seymour before the month's out. He marries her on the 30th of May. So
breathe, Pat, breathe.
So all the evidence.
Take a breath.
You know, the Boleyn faction had most definitely been superseded by the Seymour faction before this had started. There's something going on. There's rumblings already. You know, like you said, that Francis Bryan is already aligning himself once George doesn't get the Order of the Garter. He doesn't get he doesn't get a position in the Order of the Garter. One comes free. He's not put into it. Francis Bryan sees the writing on the wall. These changes are already happening. These loyalties are moving earlier, but it is still such an incredible story, unprecedented moves from the king and his counsellor Cromwell, that it's unbelievable. I've got out of Eric Ives' book, if anyone wants like the Bible on Anne Boleyn. I mean, please do supplement it with more recent work as well.
I've got that as well. I think we've all got that one.
I thought this was interesting because Chapuis, who is the Imperial ambassador, is no fan of Anne Boleyn whatsoever.
No, he hates her.
He absolutely hates her.
Vengeance.
But he's also not unfair in terms of like telling what he sees as the truth. And he says, no man ever paraded with such regularity the fact that his wife had cuckolded him, and with so little sign that he minded.
And that's the letter to the emperor, and the what he says after that. I leave you to judge the reason whereof. So Chapuis is telling the emperor, Henry is basically swanning around being like, my wife's been had affairs with upwards of 100 men. I'm a cuckold. I mean, considering how he behaved when he thinks that Catherine Howard's had sex before she met him.
Totally.
And he's older then. But Chapuis is clearly saying to the emperor, this did not happen. What he's claiming happened did not happen. He's
humiliated when Catherine Howard, when that happens. He's not humiliated at all. He doesn't show, he doesn't feel humiliated with Anne. And I think that's like almost proof positive that none of this happened. And then you look at the actual indictments, and it's just she did this, that, and the other, and she did it here and there, and then lots of other times. She tried it with other people as well.
Like, it's one of the times when she hadn't even been churched or something after the birth of Elizabeth.
So she would have still been locked away.
They were so not careful whatsoever.
No.
Which says that it was done quite quick.
The things that led to her being imprisoned and then ultimately executed, the things that did for Anne were the miscarriage, but principally the miscarriage following Catherine of Aragon's death. So the death of Catherine of Aragon, the miscarriage, and so then Henry is casting around going, well, he doesn't like being unpopular, right? And the fact is that marriage to Anne has cost him greatly on the international stage. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like that, the kings of the emperor, the king of France are questioning whether they can spend time with him, whether they can praise him, whether they can form alliances with him, because the Pope has basically said, we aren't doing this with you anymore. Henry doesn't like that. He likes to be everybody's blue-eyed boy. And now there's no Catherine, and and the other thing is that he manages to corner Chapuis into acknowledging Anne. So Chapuis is forced to essentially acknowledge that Anne is queen, so Henry is right. He's got all these legal changes through. Catherine's dead now, so he now can go, well, if I just wipe the slate clean and I have a new marriage, maybe God will be happy with me, but maybe also the other crowned heads of Europe will think I'm cool again.
Henry demands it as opposed to really wanting to earn respect, though. I feel he has, so he goes to all of that effort to get Anne recognized as queen, and he's almost backed himself into a corner now because Catherine's dead, which means that there is no, when she was still alive, that was difficult potentially because they weren't really ever properly divorced. And so you could argue that Anne wasn't really his wife. Then Catherine dies, of course, so you could say the miscarriage, but the miscarriage coincides with Catherine's death as well. And both of those things, but the day she's buried at Peterborough, that both of those things make Anne's position precarious. Either one of those things does, and they happen together. She miscarries and Catherine is dead. But I think there must be. I think that, and there is going to be more to know about Jane and Jane's part in this. I feel we've sort of seen her as Jane Seymour. I think we've seen her as a bit of a bit part.
Look, right, okay, I have a theory about this too. I have a theory about this and about who Jane is as a person because of the way she behaves in between, particularly Anne's execution and then her eventual marriage. Let's be abundantly clear. Jane has served. She serves Catherine Aragon. She serves Anne Boleyn. She has lived in rooms with this woman. Okay. And the man she's about to marry has just cut off her head. At this point, though, everyone knows that Jane is engaged to the king. Everyone knows she's about to be his wife and queen. She is one of the most observed women in the country. Let's also be clear, all of the crowned heads of Europe and others, the nobility, they've bought spies. So even if she can keep her composure in public, even in private, there's not a flicker. There's not a moment of that rising panic. Nobody sees her falter and reports it. That means, to my mind, it doesn't happen.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
She is not even having a small collywobble. Either she is so devout in her faith and belief that she is the one who will save England and Henry, or there is ice running through that woman's veins.
I don't think Elizabeth Norton's been doing some work on Jane Seymour. She's coming to talk on the Anne Boleyn tour this May. So there will be a talk recorded, and I can't wait because it really throws some light and shade on Jane, and actually really way more understanding about her personality. She is not this benign kind of, I don't know what, woman who just happens. She's not milk. She's not milk. And I think we're going to find out a lot. And like we understand Henry a bit more by looking at how he reacts after Catherine Howard to how he reacts after Anne Boleyn, I think we're going to learn more about Jane and Anne from looking at what Jane does. We might understand Anne a bit more again.
Boleyn said you're going to believe all this on the word of one woman. I wonder if it was Jane Seymour.
She's been around the Queen. It's interesting. Catherine, very interesting. Throw that out.
Well, no one's ever asked that, have they? No one's ever suggested that.
There you go, look. I'm cross-stitching Jane Seymour. It's a gift for somebody.
Oh, very good. I like I like her badge as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Taking a while.
Yeah, you've got more patience than me.
Well, I think the thing to say about all of them, like, I don't think that Anne treats Catherine or Mary well. I don't think that Jane covers herself in glory in the way that she responds to Anne. Let's be abundantly clear. None of this is possible without Henry backing it.
Oh, no. I mean, he's like the conductor of all this bullshit.
He wants the ladies fighting. He wants the ladies fighting.
Yeah, and I wonder whether because the Tudor, I mean, I think the Tudors have always been a fascination actually throughout, but they become even more of a fascination with your Agnes Strickland and but she's writing in quite a misogynistic time, and I feel like the women in the story aren't given agency, and with agency comes the fact that they're not only going to do feminine, womanly things. They're going to do what real women do, which is not necessarily. Women don't love all women. We keep trying it, but it doesn't work. It doesn't happen, and they're also in a level of society that we cannot really truly imagine. We can't.
Yeah. Look, the thing is, the devil makes work for idle hands, and there is scarcely anybody more idle than the nobles. Like, that's true. These are lazy people, then and now. Lazy people. If all you're doing is sitting on your bum eating bonbons and cross-stitching, no offense, Catherine.
Rude. I don't have any bonbons, so I am not noble.
Are you starting any fights?
If you've got time to change your outfits 3 times a day, you're playing on your lute. Their life is recreation and courtly etiquette and wordplay and card games. Do you know what? Bored people gossip.
They cause trouble.
Also, other people gossip too. Let's be clear there. But sometimes
they might be the ones making
drama.
it up. Yeah,
they create drama because they're bored people. These are also clever people. These are some of the most well-educated people on the face of the earth at that time.
And
they
they've
have
got
had
power.
every attribute: power, wealth, education, access,
not work. Yeah,
no work, lazy arseholes.
Yeah, so if they're coming up with stories about other people, they can actually see something enacted on the back of that. That's what I mean by the power. Like, there's something can happen because of what they say. It's, you know, I think we just have to, the more and more I read about history, and obviously I'm reading about it all the time, the more you have to accept that human beings, we're trying to get to an ideal that we all agree would be lovely, but it's not reality.
It's not possible.
People do like to see other people suffer. They like to see what they can make happen. They like to see how they can make other people do things for them. They like to play people against each other. Like, unfortunately, and in, you know, like you say, when it's the only thing they've got to do as well, it happens. So, but yeah, I mean, we couldn't have done executed people without talking about Anne and the men. Must remember the men who were executed with her to make this story have even I mean, it's a wafer thin veil of authenticity, but they died for it.
And look, I mean, I agree that in every case this is a completely trumped up charges. I don't believe she's had sex with any of these men. I think she admits to saying to imagining the king's death, so technically she's guilty of treason. Even if she had in fact fucked 100 men, none of them deserve to die.
Yeah.
So even if, like, even if she had been in quotes guilty, doesn't deserve to die. Doesn't deserve to.
Absolutely. And when you still see comments like, well, she deserved it because she was nasty to Catherine and Mary. No.
Henry was nasty.
Not really, no.
Even if she was nasty to them, doesn't deserve death. These things don't require a death penalty.
No, exactly. I mean, yeah. So, you know, she did plenty of stuff that would probably make us think, didn't really like that, Anne. Elizabeth I does loads of stuff that makes me think, don't like that. But it doesn't mean, you know, people, back to my previous point, are people. And they're going to do loads of stuff you like and loads of stuff you don't like. And we should be mindful of
die for it.
Sorry?
They probably shouldn't die for it.
No.
That's the thing.
It's going to show as well that even after all these hundreds of years later, people, including women, still judge other women on their supposed sex lives. Still.
I just would rather never. I don't want to know about anyone's sex.
No.
And it's becoming forefront of people's like minds. I'm like, it's not that I don't care about you. I just don't want to know. I don't see how that's relevant to me at all. Be a nice person, don't be a cunt, and then I might want to hang out with you. That's it.
That's the first time you dropped the C-bomb.
Is it?
I think it's the first time. I think it might be the first time any of us have said. I'm not going to say.
No, it's not the first time.
It's on History After Dark. It's like I say it a lot.
Am I going to have to cut that out?
I know.
Am I going to have to cut that out?
I love that it was you that did it. And not me. Because Catherine hates that word.
I totally didn't know. I did not think I was the first. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You've popped your cherry. You've popped the History After Dark C-bomb cherry. I love it.
Is it safe to come out?
No, it's such a good. I mean, it's like it's words to live by. Don't be that. Yeah. And people like about anything.
On that, just side note, on the See You Next Tuesday thing, Bluey, the TV show, knows what it's doing, right?
Oh, they all
do.
They all do, yeah.
The bins are collected on a Tuesday, and you have got the kids going, see you next Tuesday. So what's my little arsehole saying? See you next Tuesday. I'm like, I look at his daddy, goes, it's from Bluey. I'm like, they fucking know what they're doing.
They do.
I love Bluey. I love it. But they knew what they were doing with that.
What did I watch back with one of mine? Oh, so my grandson was round and he had something on that my kids used to watch when they were little. And my kids were watching it going, oh, like, because of the amount of like adult jokes running through stuff. Yeah. Which they now get, obviously, but totally passed them by when they were little.
Yeah. But they repeat them.
My favourite was one from Sooty many years ago. And one of them was going for a job interview. If you don't know about Sooty, this is irrelevant. But
I'll look up Sooty and Sweep.
You look good, you're halfway there. So randomly, Sweet, because it wasn't Sweet, and it turns up wearing this beautiful frilly sequin, whatever it was, really fancy dress. And Sue's like, why are you wearing a dress? And he goes, squeak, squeak, squeak. And she goes, if you look good, you're halfway there. She said, if you keep wearing that, the only people that are going to want to interview you are the police. And no, obviously it's a different type. You're like, this program is aimed at.
You know what though? There's so many out of Sooty and Sweep that I do wonder if they're real. Because like, how would we go and actually check the original?
Yeah, because they're puppets, they could be dubbed. Someone else could dub it.
Yeah,
AI dub it.
And AI now.
Like 35 years ago that I watched.
People re-edit stuff
now.
Yeah, no, I know the original.
I mean, it's
but how do you know when you see a clip? Yeah.
That's the question. I was walking back from dropping Gabriel at school today, and this sweet little girl, she couldn't have been more than about 2. She fell over. There was a hole in the pavement, and she was fine. She styled it out. She was brave. Her mum picked her up, dusted her off, and as we were walking past, I was like, "Oh, that was a hole in that pavement. He jumped out and bit you." And we kind of wandered off in front of her, and she went, oh, "Nothing's going my way today. Oh no, I can't catch a break today." And when I tell you, I almost wet myself with laughing. I can't catch a break today. I'm like, same, babe. Same. It was so funny. So funny.
Oh, bless her.
I know.
That's a little light note to end on there. I know that this whole situation, and to be honest, the history that's been done around it until fairly recently. You're right. It's misogynistic, but it also so often it completely abdicates Henry of any responsibility for it. You know, it's wicked Cromwell. He cannot. The blacksmith's boy cannot do anything without the explicit and express permission of the despot who's a king.
Yeah,
he is instructed.
Yeah,
and Absolutely. Henry's not stupid or easily led. Henry does whatever Henry's going to want to do. We only have to look at the arrest warrant signed for Catherine Parr and the way he handles that. The arrest warrant for Anne Boleyn, all of that information, he is vapor. The second he decides you're being arrested, if he means it, he's not there. He's a coward who disappears.
Oh, he never gets his hands dirty.
No,
he doesn't watch an execution. Cromwell's watching the execution. Oh, that's the other thing as well. Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say about her having this supposed, honor, whatever, of being executed within the Tower walls. That totally. I know there's a lot of people there to witness it, but imagine and remembering it's not just a queen. There hasn't been a woman beheaded like this. I don't think. Do they come afterwards? I think the other ones, Margaret Pole, the pub, and they're also conducted within the Tower of London. So the people who are witnessing it are very tightly controlled. Who that is? Can you imagine the public seeing a woman beheaded?
Yeah,
it's not an act of kindness.
It's less right for them.
He can't have her executed in public. You can't have a woman beheaded in public. You're going to get the same that you got when Charles I was executed, where actually what happened, the crowd turns up, the public turns up to see it, and then they go, oh, and people faint and are sick because they can't. No, I can't believe you've actually gone through with that.
Yeah.
And
not only is Anne Boleyn his wife, she was the second of his queens to actually have a coronation. So she is anointed.
Yeah. She has a daughter who until 5 seconds earlier was heir. What happens now? Who's the heir? We've got 2 children from the king, and neither of them are in line to the throne.
And Fitzroy as well. Who's the heir? But this is the first time that somebody who has been through coronation is being publicly executed.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
There is a belief that certainly it's put forward by the monarchs, particularly the divine right monarchs, that process of anointing is transmuting. It makes you next to God almost. I mean, Charles I was there are some people that think that there was part of him that believed it would be impossible to execute him because he was chosen by God.
And of course, the people executing him are saying we don't believe that. Henry's not saying he doesn't believe that.
No. So I think to myself, if we had not had the execution of Anne Boleyn, if Henry had not shown that it was possible, and then to do it with Catherine Howard, now granted she's not been anointed, but would we have had the execution of Mary Queen of Scots? And would we have had the execution of Charles I?
It definitely was a watershed moment. It broke a barrier.
Yeah. The polite fiction of, what a coronation actually did for a person.
Yeah.
Is being blown apart by this.
Yeah. Totally. That's a very interesting point.
And bearing in mind as well, she's not just crowned as a consort, she's crowned with St. Edward's crown. She's crowned with the crown of coronation.
Yeah.
Which no other consort gets.
Because she's already pregnant. So I've not come up with this myself. This is something I've heard maybe from Gareth, maybe from James, but that she's crowned. The theory is she's crowned with St. Edward's crown, the crown for the monarch, because she is pregnant with the heir that's assumed to be the prince.
Henry's crowning the boy he believes to be in her belly. That's what I mean. There are a lot of people that talk about it as a sign of how much he appreciates her. He's done all this work at the Tower. He then has her crown with St. Edward's crown, a distinct honour that doesn't get given to Catherine of Aragon. Well, she can't be crowned with it because it's a joint coronation and he's being crowned with it. So she can't have St. Edward's crown. And it is the crown of the monarch, not the consort. But yeah, he's not. This is not a sign of how much he loves and adores her. This is a sign of he wants to crown the boy. My read of their relationship, rather than being a love story, and other people have said this too, I see it as somebody who's being basically, he gloms onto her. She does everything in her power to try to dissuade him. She leaves, she goes back to Hever. She tries to avoid him consistently. The letters that we have of his seem to indicate that she's kind of trying to put him off by being cold, maybe hot and cold, who knows, rather than this being a gameplay to entrap him into leaving his wife, which she could not have possibly conceived.
Another unprecedented move. Yeah.
There's no way that she could have thought, oh, well, he would divorce Catherine. But let's be also clear, while the king is showing this interest in her and she's not giving in, so either she disregards her honour or she keeps playing the game. But while the king is interested in her, no other is going to marry her.
No,
she's only getting older.
Yeah, I mean, I totally
good marriage where she can get these titles and children to pass them on. She is being removed from the life that she was supposed to have, that she's been educated to have, because he's got this interest in her. And so, I'm sure that at a certain point when she's knocking 30, she goes, "Well, fuck it, here we are."
Yeah,
and also, I mean, so my thoughts on it. Again, not original thoughts. This is things I've heard people say, but she, again, remembering that that she is not just pious in that she chooses to believe something. It is the truth. It is this is the truth, that God exists. God has a plan for me. Okay, this is God's plan for me. This is God's plan for me. So I'm going to go in 100%. But I do thoroughly believe that before that, she is absolutely not interested. She is trying to not just distance herself, but say no in without having to actually say no. I don't think she's this idea that she's calculated. Again, that's telling her story backwards, and that feeds into a narrative of which. Sort of tied into this, where people say that she's sort of got above her station, which is another sort of Christian value of the time. You're born into your station. You shouldn't be sort of trying to get any higher, and that it feeds into that idea. Oh, well, of course, she was struck down because she was above her station. She, played and lost. No, she didn't.
No,
I don't think she did.
I think that notion that even if she does say, even if she actually says, I'm not going to sleep with you until I'm your wife, I don't even read that as her being calculating. I read that as going, give up.
We're not married.
Maybe,
we're not married.
He'll lose interest.
He's married.
Yeah.
We're not married. I'm not sleeping with you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and when you realise that,
know where it's going to go. Yeah.
It's even more tragic. I mean, even if it could get any more tragic, but she didn't want to be there in the first place.
And the thing is, once all the court cases start, once she is basically she becomes this focus for the court, but also for recognition that she's part of this motivation to get rid of Catherine. Once that happens, she then has no choice. She can't turn from that because her life prospects will be done.
Yeah.
And she can't save Catherine. People say, well, she was mean to Catherine. She wasn't always very nice to Catherine, but she couldn't save her. There was nothing she could have done. And if she tried to be nice to her, Henry probably would have been fuming about that as well.
And the bottom line is that if these 7 years, her life is on hold and it's dangerous. Like, there will be people who are trying to assassinate her. There are people at court that hate her and probably make that very clear. It's 7 years of anxiety and fighting and misery and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And there probably was a part of her that goes, look, the king wants this. It's clearly God's will. And other queens who have not given their kingly husband a living male heir have stepped aside because England needs a male heir. And so there probably is a part of Anne that is incredibly frustrated that Catherine just won't do the, as she sees it, decent and right thing.
It is a little bit frustrating, actually, that Catherine doesn't. It's not just that it's just one girl. It's one.
Yeah.
One heir. You know, Henry was the second. He wasn't supposed to be king. You know, and his brother lived till 15. You know, it's dangerous to have one heir, and literally, where else is another one going to come from? So, but yeah, well, we probably should wrap it up there because we're nearly at an hour and a half.
So
this was going to be a long one. We're talking about Anne.
What's happening next week?
So next week, Kat, okay, the other one, is going to be introducing us to Anne Wolfe.
Alice.
Oh, why did I write that down? Excuse me, Alice Wolfe.
And more Anne's.
Oh, well, that makes more sense. No, it's because I've got Anne on the brain now. Yeah, Alice Wolfe. So, yeah, tune in.
Tune in. Be there or be square.
A contemporary of Anne Boleyn's.
In fact.
Although they would never have been in the same circles. Although they were in the same place. Not the same time, but in the same place.
Yeah. Oh, so I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to that one. So, yeah, join us next week.
Tell us all the things.
Yes, thank you for watching this. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please like the video, share the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, select all. Just interact with as much as you can. That does share it out in the algorithm. You can also, if you do like it, you can let us know with money. You can come over and buy us some Winnebagos. If you go to www.buymeacoffee.com/hadpodcast, in addition to Winnebago, that's also where you can come to get on the Close Friends on Instagram. You will know if you're already on Close Friends because when you see the Had logo in the circle and it's got a green light around it, that means you're a close friend. It also means that Catherine has posted something probably quite depraved that's either history or beaver related or historical beaver related. So if you want to be part of
or Max Irons, we could also throw in a picture of Max Irons. Just
there we go. All of their beavers. If you want to be part of what is effectively like our group chat, then do come and do that. We also have got a Substack where we have information about what we're up to, historyafterdarkhub.substack.com. You will be able to find links to this as a podcast. If you are on the podcast platforms and it doesn't let you subscribe, please give us a 5-star review and say lovely things. If you don't think we're a 5-star podcast, then find something else to listen to and shh. You can also find links to our merch. Today I'm wearing Warboner merch. We also have Conflict Resolution merch. We've got History After Dark merch. Notice for the internet merch. Timmy the Problem merch. There we go. Rough Beaver merch. All those good things. More merch, no doubt, to come soon. Please also check out our individual social medias on the hints which is in the description box. We're on various places, and we also have a TikTok for this. Check it all out. Check the description box. Click things. See what you find. I believe that's everything.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll see you all next week.
Yeah. See you all for fun and frolics. Well, that's wrong. See you all for some more executions next week.
Yes. Philippa gave us 6.
In the meantime,
I did actually.
6
In
the meantime, be good. And if you can't be good, be careful. And if you can't be careful, for the love of everything, do not get caught. We're going to leave in 3, 2, 1. Bye.
Bye.